I was chronically ill for 4 years, had to shut down my business. So then eventually I became bedbound for 2 years. Yeah, my parents even had a conversation like, we're going to have the talk, like she's probably going to die. It's really a weird feeling to know like your body is dying. It's really an awful feeling to have. I never prayed in my life before, but I just said like, this can't be it. Please. That's how I came to your course. I'm going to be so honest. I was super skeptic in the beginning because I'm not raised in any spiritual way or anything, or mind-body connection. It was totally weird actually for me. I never knew that speed healing was an actual thing, but we really have that ability. And the thing I'm most grateful for is actually that you gave me hope. It lifts you up in some way that I can't yet fully explain what you do with all your magic.
This morning's session was very powerful. All of these sessions are the deepest I ever go into consciousness, light, love, and wisdom from God in a completely drug-free type of situation. This is all based on using your breath to go very, very deep.
Do you ever wake up feeling stressed, anxious, and tired even before the day begins? Have you ever felt overwhelmed, frustrated, lack of energy, no matter what time of day? And maybe you've tried different practices to try and fix this, but nothing seems to work. What if I told you there was a natural way you could wake up feeling absolutely energized, enthusiastic to start your day every single morning?
Just giving myself that time every morning gives more peace and calm to the day.
What if you could boost your energy and strengthen your immune system using one of the most powerful natural healing practices?
It didn't just bring me healing to my mind and my body, but it also brought me healing of my soul and my purpose and my calling in life.
If you're looking for a way to calm your mind and energize your body, here's what you can do.
That 21 days was amazing. It's really transformed my life.
Many people, they try and improve their actions by learning new tactics, new techniques, new strategies, but they end up just getting the same results and reach a plateau. If you really want to go to the next level, we need to go a layer deeper. Your emotions, your feeling, your state determines the quality of your results.
I've been doing the daily meditation every night, and I have reached states that I have never been able to reach before. So that's like, where has breathing been all my life, and why don't more people know about this?
And you know what's the number one way to turn on your state and elevate it on command? It's the remote control for your mind, body, and spirit. It's your breath.
I would come back into the living room and my husband would say, "What have you been doing? You're flushed and your eyes are sparkling and you're grinning from ear to ear." Saying, "Don't worry, dear, I've only been breathing."
Breath has been the foundation of many spiritual practices for thousands of years. In fact, the word spiritual means to breathe. It comes from the Latin root breath, life. And every time we breathe, we create energy in the body. And according to quantum science, everything is energy. So by learning how to control your breath, we can control the energy of the inner world. And through that, we can actually have a better relationship with the outer world.
I've noticed an extreme increase in like the ability to control my emotions.
I'm realizing that too. Suddenly I'm reacting differently to people, which most of the time triggered me, but suddenly I'm like, so what?
And it's done wonders for how I respond. So to me, it's just like that right there alone is priceless, you know?
If you've heard of things like the law of attraction, manifesting, the secret, well, the real secret is the breath. And with the breath, we can actually unravel many layers of conditioning to understand who we truly are and identify our truth, the true will. Because we're manifesting all day long, and most of us are manifesting things we don't want. It's because we don't know who we truly are. And when we understand who we truly are, that's when we can create the life we truly want.
After the 21 days, there are so many things started to manifest in my life.
The funny thing is, when I did the awakening protocol, is I started having like major visions, funny colors, funny patterns. Oh, super cool. But then I started to notice like hope. this is like some sort of message I had to decode, some sort of puzzle I had to understand, some sort of calling that was really saying like, you really need to listen to this.
And that's what we're going to give you in 21 days with the 21-day awakening journey.
It was an incredible week, just like the week before and the week before.
It has really blown me away, and I am so much balanced. I feel so much balance in the left and the right hand side of my brains that I think I'm 52 now. It's the first time I feel that I'm in charge of my life.
And modern science is now catching up with what the ancients knew thousands of years ago, that your breath has the ability to influence your immune system.
It really activated something in me that I never knew that was there.
To increase your strength and resilience to stress.
I was having like difficulties with a girl, and I was very stressed, and I couldn't calm down. I was like, what the heck, I'm just gonna do the breathing, and it relaxed me quite a lot, so that helped out so much.
You can also awaken stem cells with just simple breathing practices.
I had an injection done of stem cells in my ankle, not needing to pay for those treatments, which are very expensive, and using our own stem cells, you know, in a natural way. Now this is revolutionary.
And with breath, you can actually elevate your states of consciousness to a higher state of consciousness where we can tap into peak gamma brainwave frequencies. These are the brainwave states that advanced meditators would spend years and years of practice to achieve.
You have made such difficult things into such simple things to understand, and you know the yogis have made it such a big deal out of it, and you made it so simply that you put it to us. The kumbhaka that you have made it so simple. I'm telling you, I love you, man.
But now, with your breath alone and special music technology, we can access these states in an instant.
I love the combination of breathwork and the music.
My coherence actually went up to 10, which is a level I've never reached before, just because he added the music to it.
Music was perfect, brought everything together in the, I don't know, perfect combination. I don't even know. The music is just fucking freaking amazing. It's like, I can't put it in words. It's that good. It's that good.
You know, it's like the music that every music that I'm not sure how you came up with all this music, because it's just the music can trigger so much in the brain. You know, I felt like you don't even need to say, you have to focus in your heart. You need to focus in your ajna and everything, because it just goes there.
So the legend of Soma is referenced 50,000 times in the world's most ancient religious manuscript, called the Rig Veda. In there, tells a story of these ancient shamans and rishis who would use psychedelic plants to reach these ecstatic states. However, they were so dependent on the Soma plant for their bliss that they all got freaked out when the Soma starts to run out. So they had to find a way to create the Soma within. And this becomes the origins of Tantra, yoga, meditation, Buddhism that have now spread across the world and become household names in the mainstream.
I feel awake.
I have a big smile in my mouth, and I don't even know why.
So I've just revived this ancient practice of Soma and combined it with modern music and technology that makes it so much more fun and accessible, and also free from any religion or dogma.
I would actually compare this, not in a bad way, it is a little bit like taking psychedelic drugs. It's actually very close to that. And then you don't wake, when you come out of the other side, you don't feel horrible.
The SOMA Breathwork ritual was for me very much like a psychedelic orgasm on DMT.
I'm a licensed psychologist, and I've been I'm board certified in neurofeedback, which is, you know, basically monitoring brainwave activity. I came across your stuff and I was like, okay, this is awesome. Is there something consistent in the brain that looks similar to what's happening with psychedelics? And you know, this is a perfect time to look at that, because there's a lot of current research happening, looking at psilocybin and LSD and ayahuasca and 5-MeO DMT and various psychedelics and what's happening in the brain. So we actually have some pretty solid research literature to compare this to. Really wanted to look at a specific part of the brain called the default mode network. Yeah, and the default mode network is getting a lot of attention right now because what we understand its role to be. It's really kind of the network in your brain that is creating your sense of who you are. It's kind of you can think of it almost as your ego, the brain's version of the ego. We're finding more and more that if somebody has a significant mental health concern, usually there's some issues with the default mode network, which makes sense. If you're thinking too much about yourself or how you relate to other people or to the world, probably going to make you anxious or depressed or both. And what's interesting, of course, is that with psychedelics, that whole region basically goes offline. It shuts off. And so the way that a person normally thinks about themselves is basically interrupt. So if I've got some dysfunctional ways that I think about myself that are causing me pain, on a psychedelic, that's all disrupted. And all of a sudden you start thinking of yourself differently. You see yourself differently. When we kind of took that initial analysis of what was happening with the SOMA Breath work and looked specifically at the default mode, what we saw was a pattern that looks remarkably like what we see with the traditional psychedelics. There's other research showing that if somebody has a mystical experience on or off of a psychedelic, that is much more likely to have lasting effects, be more life-changing in a positive way. And again, we saw that pattern here with SOMA, where the people in this experiment reported higher levels than with psilocybin or MDMA. The fact that we're getting these results in this situation I think is super significant.
And now this study by Dr. Jeff Tarrant is actually being expanded upon by the prestigious University of Cambridge. You see, the funny thing is, my mum always said to me, if you study really hard, you can one day go to Cambridge University. However, ironically, I didn't go to Cambridge University, but Cambridge are now studying us. As you can see from this letter, which reads, the Consciousness and Cognition Lab, Department of Psychology at the University of Cambridge that I lead is currently collaborating on a scientific project with Niraj Naik as director of SOMA Breath. We aim to characterize the brain and phenomenological underpinnings of breathworks. We chose to collaborate with SOMA Breath due to its very clear and systematic approach and the effectiveness of this method as per clear report from those participating and the researchers coordinating the study. So this was a letter by Dr. Tristan Beckenstein, who is a world-renowned neuroscientist. They are actually studying the 21-day awakening protocol right now, and the promising results so far gives more validation to this powerful method and protocol.
Yeah, and the techniques that you are sharing is one of the advanced breathing techniques that the yogis only shares to their close circles.
Yes,
And
because it works.
this is one of the technique that it brings to samadhi state, I believe.
Yes.
Now we use rhythmic music, and when you breathe in a rhythm, say you have a beat like this, in 2, 3, 4, out 2, 3, 4, and you breathe with that rhythm, you actually create a state called coherence, and that actually raises the emotional energy in the body, and it also prepares you for the next phase of SOMA, the most magical phase of all, intermittent hypoxia or kumbhaka. And this is where we actually hold our breath and go into this deep state of inner peace. Because when you hold your breath, you press pause on life. It's like putting a defrag on your hard disk of your operating system, and this allows the thought files to declutter. What also happens is you lower oxygen levels for a short period of time, and your body adapts to having less oxygen. Your mitochondria gets more efficient. You produce energy more efficiently, and this can even help you become stronger, fitter, have better performance, better moods, and even in some cases reverse chronic conditions where stress is the cause.
I went really from 0 to, I felt like a hero, literally, like really, I felt so empowered, so full of energy. I went on a hike for 2 hours even. We just said we're going to try to go on a hike, and I just kept going and going, and we didn't understand where all this energy was coming from, and I kept going. So eventually it was like 2-hour hike, and I eventually also ended up doing a yoga teacher's course, which was like 3 to 4 hours yoga a day, something that would have been impossible before all of this.
And with the breath, we can even peel away the layers of conditioning that have created limiting beliefs and emotional blocks. We can heal the trauma of the past and take away the anxiety and worry of the future so that in your present moment, the default state, you are at your best every single day.
Just a lot more clarity about what I need to do and what I'm supposed to do. But I was an alcoholic for a number of years, and I've got 2 young daughters, 2 beautiful daughters. And I came to the realization last week that I hadn't been a father to my older one and hadn't been present with her and made her feel that. And I couldn't understand why it was so bad and why it was so traumatic for her until I realized it was me. I ended up asking her for forgiveness, essentially. And, we both had this beautiful moment, cried together, forgave each other. And there was this beautiful karmic shift in her and seeing her growth after that period. So for me, that's been the biggest reward.
That was a day in my 60 years history that I never had. I had like a bliss day.
Something that started on the beaches and jungles of Thailand has now turned into a global movement across the world. My name is Niraj, the founder of SOMA Breath, also known as a renegade pharmacist. And I actually developed this technique because many years ago I was working as a community pharmacist. I became very disillusioned with the whole healthcare system, and I was in a very, very stressful career and job, and that got me sick and ended up housebound with a chronic illness for almost a year. And this was where I had to go inwards myself. I went deep within, and I was trained in the ancient arts of yoga, pranayama, and tantra, and this allowed me to change my physiology, and within 3 months I was back to full health. That put me on a lifelong journey to find out how and why these techniques work, so that I can make them more accessible for others so they don't have to suffer like I did. In doing so, I discovered that actually we can even create heightened states of consciousness and go into profound states of meditation simply by using the same techniques. And I've combined this with my passion and love for music, because the ancients used music. They used rhythmic music, and they used other sounds and melodies to actually get people into trance states. I just combined new modern forms of music, new modern styles of music and technology to make an even more heightened, multi-dimensional meditation and breathwork experience. So the great thing about SOMA is it brings people together, and when you breathe together, you actually increase the vibe and the strength between the tribe or the group. And actually the ancients used to breathe together as a practice they did together, and this was the basis of spirituality. Spirituality in Latin literally means to breathe. And I want to bring people together and get people to breathe together in a rhythm, because I know that this is going to be one of the best ways to actually strengthen the bond and the connection between people, because that's something that's missing in this world. We become nuclear families where we become independent and individualized. And when we get together as groups and do practices like this together as a group, it's like a way of celebrating life together. And that's what I want to bring back with SOMA, is the community, because the community is the cure.
And there are so many light beings needs this at this time, because I have seen so much of depressed, confused light beings. They can't awake in this environment, which is the energy is too low for them to understand and believe their intuition. I was one of them. I believe this is going to be a hit, Niraj.
If you're ready to completely transform and upgrade your life and get access to the complete set of SOMA Breath tools, then take advantage of this special offer. See you on the inside.